Morning everybody. So we're finally off for our first backpacking trip of the season. It's early o'clock, our bags are packed. I have a lot more respect for thru-hikers as I put a bag together that not everything is going to the PCT, but it's bigger and heavier than it will be for that. So, you know, it's not too bad, but we're about to head out. We're going to go and do a section of the Timberline Trail at Mount Hood. My camera's in for repairs, and I only have so much room on my phone, so there's not going to be many pictures or video, but some. But there's my beauty right there, and the other beauty. And off we go. 3 hours till we get there, but nonetheless, we're on our way. Morning, everybody. Well, we just got to Cloud Cap Inn, which is this lovely looking small lodge, and it has another small cabin behind me. There's plenty of parking, and as you can see, we're just surrounded by some of that 2009 burn. The area is gorgeous. You can see way out to the Dalles despite the smoke. The whole trip was once we hit Hood River, was staring at Mount Adams and Mount Hood, and you can see Rainier and Helens pretty well. I may show a little bit of video of there, but on video especially, because my camera's in for repair today, so I only have my phone, which means there won't be a whole lot of video or picture, just because I don't have much space on my phone. But we haven't been really hiking in a few weeks since we did Elk Mountain, so I'm going a little nuts, and there's been some stress this month. But we had a couple of weekends lost because we were doing Gishwiz, the greatest international scavenger hunt the world has ever seen, which is an event for charity that benefits a lot of different groups and entities and just tries to support random acts of kindness. And that was fantastic, but it did take 2 weeks from us, 2 weekends, that is. So we're out here, we're gonna get started in just a minute. Just wanted to take a peek around the inn while we could. And we'll be jumping on trail in just a couple minutes. It's going to take our time. We're staying overnight around Elk Cove, may go off to Dollar Lake, may go past that to the East Basin, and just kind of see what we feel up for. It's our first backpacking trip of the season, and we're excited as hell. So, see you further down the trail. So the trail used to be way up there. We passed a reroute pretty close to the beginning of the trail, where they just had some markers, because there used to be a wooden bridge up here and it washed out I can't remember how many years ago. But this is going to be our first water crossing, because going up there is dangerous and ends in that gorgeous stepped
waterfall.
Sorry, bugs and distraction, and boulder-filled waterfall. So a little bit of a reroute. It's all really powdery, which I kind of enjoy. It's pretty steep though for the way back. It's really been a lot busier out here this morning than I expected. But there is I think it's an annual Mazama's maintenance party started just before we got here. And actually I see some people in hard hats and with equipment down here. So I'll be catching up with some of them. But we're told that we might be able to do this across rocks with dry feet, but we'll see. But it's our first water crossing, so I'm kind of excited. Up we go. Like I was talking about, there's our maintenance party. Pretty sure they're part of the Mazamas, so love the Mazamas. They do a lot of good stuff for the trails we go on pretty regularly, so for any of you Mazamas listening, thank you very much. Hope to join you guys at some point. The river crossing is just ahead. So we took like a, I don't know, maybe 20-minute break there, just because the trail definitely has some incline. It's not too crazy, especially after doing stuff like elk and dog this last month. But I was just exhausted, so needed some shut-eye. So we just found a good dusty spot against a log and took a rest for a while. We're on our way again, and it looks like we're on and off again, getting out of this dust. Still plenty of it, but it's coming and going. Looks like we're getting to our second water source. I don't know if it's below us. It should all be coming from up above. Oh, I see it a bit. Looks like we'll just be crossing a small stream, and I probably won't fill up because we still have about 3 liters. Either way, there's our second water source. So I was saying we only had 2 liters each just because we are going through so many water crossings that I'm not really worried about keeping too much on us. So I'm probably going to pass that one by until I start getting a lot lower. But we're coming in and out of these growth sections. It's been a couple of these ancient falls where they look like they used to have some glacial flow, but probably not for a long time. We just passed one that had some, huge 10-foot across boulders, but some pretty old growth trees mixed in, meaning that they probably haven't had water flow in a long time, whereas this might be more recent, given that it's just pretty new trees. And lots of greenery during the wet season. It's probably, yeah, we've actually had a good amount of wildflowers here, even though it's getting to pretty late summer, late midsummer at least. Oh, there's even some Indian paintbrushes. So we're just kind of going into the nooks and cranny of a water flow valley, and then out to the edge and back in, and probably going to be doing that until we camp down for the night. Here's a tiny little stream. Not the one we were seeing, but that wouldn't be too hard to get some water from. A little bit precarious, but not that big. We can still see the rolling hills of the Dalles and some of the small towns below us. And our constant companions, Adams and Rainier. Switch off the video in a second. A few more of these small streams. But, ooh, it's actually muddy. So yeah, it's a pretty hot weekend. Even here on Hood, it's somewhere in the 80s. Government camp was supposed to be high 80s, so yep. Look at the rock cliff up above. That's pretty damn cool. I've been trying to reserve my video time to really capitalize on the best stuff out here, which means I'm probably going to delete and not use some of the stuff I took. But my wife is losing her shit, and that's why. Waterfall coming out of a glacier all the way up from up there. So we're having a good day. We get the chill here, and well, we're not at our stopping point yet, but I'm going to be excited to come back and see this again on our way back. I haven't taken a video in a while, so the guide lied entirely. The dust does not stop after a mile, but it's definitely a little bit more intermittent. Still the dominant feature, but we are in the woods for just a little bit of time. We're getting close to Elk Cove, and I think we're going to take a good lunch, soak our feet, do some self-care, just try to decide if we want to hit up Dollar Lake and just kind of find a camp space somewhere in the next few miles. We've been going through several water crossings. There's just kind of non-stop meadows, which I know it's so hard to tell with the shaking from my phone what you're looking at. Seen another glacier, a couple I think, maybe just one. Water passings have been all pretty easy. It's really pretty mellow there and back. Come tomorrow, it should be about 1,600 feet gain, 800 foot loss total, plus Dollar Lake if we do it, but this is all really pretty relaxed since we, well. Try to avoid the middle of the small one. I may run out of video space any second. We are morning, everybody. So we're late rising today, which is no real surprise. I knew sleep was going to be kind of the biggest backpacking issue, and it took till early morning to get some sleep. Did get a little bit. Got to enjoy the sunrise through the trees, not really too direct, but we did get a gorgeous campground last night. I was just too tired to really show any of that, but we had a pre-made fire pit made out of rocks, some other kind of camp furniture made out of rocks, which was nice. So just made our first camp dinner, tried out our MSR wind burner, which not too bad. It's going to take some finesse to learn how to actually clean on it or cook on it, but it's easy enough to use. I do wish it had a self-igniter. We have to use matches or a lighter or something like that, but it boils really quickly. It's going to just take a little finesse to learn how to cook on it without accidentally turning it off. So we're just, we didn't dry camp, but we don't have a whole lot of water left for breakfast. We're about a third of a mile from the, I think it's the Cove Glacier Stream and meadows of Elk Cove. We're on the edge of Elk Cove and nice campground, so we're going to just walk down there and get some water to start the day, get some breakfast cooked. We picked a small bag of huckleberries last night, which were fantastic, massively sweet, just perfect ripeness. So we're going to mix that with our oatmeal this morning, then just pack up and get going. So we'll see how much video I take. We're like just up and headed for some water for the morning, but really this section is some of the prettiest we got. But you can see how much smoke has come in, covering the hood, because it's really right there. But despite that, it's gorgeous. We can definitely smell the smoke. I thought it was just dust and kind of that morning light at first, but it's definitely smoke rolling through. Give you a brief view of the mountain and these ridiculous, ridiculous meadows. I had to stop for just a second to take some panoramics of that. As you can see, it's just, you know, it seems like something made up from oh, what's that famous musical called? That famous musical with Nazis? Yeah, that one. The Nazi musical, that's the one. Imagine that's not how most of you remember it. But yeah, I'm glad we got to come out a little bit further this morning. Even though the smoke is high, it is just incredible out here. As far as us, Chelsea's sick, but it is what it is. And I got maybe an hour or two of sleep, so it's going to be a slow start and a slow day, but we're enjoying it. It's hard not to with this just made up folktale beauty here. But since I only have so much room, I'm going to leave the rest of the meadows for you to see yourself. Cheers. Finisterre.
I should have one tail of a callus in the bottom of my foot after this. Seriously though?
Terra Finisterre. So I didn't really get much video from this side of this crossing coming up yesterday, so I was really low on space, and I don't have much today, but this was the most kind of intense water crossing, I think. The logs are pretty decent at the moment. One of them kind of looks like it wants to go, but the biggest thing is it's marked with cairns at the moment to show the trail, as you really can't see the trail from where you come out heading. So we are done and back. As you can tell from the backdrop, I'm in my office. We'd actually finished the trail more than a week ago, but I just have not had the chance to sit down and kind of do a wrap-up video. So I just wanted to add a few last details. Because I had so little space on my phone, I had to, whenever I had Wi-Fi, I had to upload videos to YouTube, try to send back some pictures, just clear up space so I didn't really get to do quite what I wanted to with a lot of the video this time around. Luckily, my camera got delivered today back from being repaired, so we'll have that for the coming trail, so I won't have to hold back on footage. And it's one of those things, I'm trying to make my videos a little bit more condensed in general, just because, well, it's incredible out there, and I tend to want to talk a lot and just put a lot of, to show you guys a lot of what we're seeing, but I'm trying to make it a little bit more representative and show the high points and just not overdo it so much, which is really my way. But nonetheless, it makes it a lot easier to take all the photos and video I want, and then cut out the extra and just make a really good video. And bit by bit I'm getting better at that, but the camera definitely will help. And so either way, next video that will be back. As it is though, I didn't really get much video of our last few crossings. There's one particular crossing that's somewhere around the middle, and because I don't have video or proper tracking, it's really hard to say which one it was. But you're going to come across a water crossing at some point where the water crossing's not too bad. It's a water crossing, but there were some good there were some passable logs that worked. But you come out on the trail and you have to go a little bit up the river, just, I don't know, 30 feet, 50 feet, something less than that, to the logs, cross the logs, and then go back down about another 30, 50 feet. When you come out to the river crossing, you look straight ahead and the trail's right there, but you really can't see it. So if you come to a river crossing and you're just not sure, where you come out is essentially where you're going to be on the other side. You just have to go up a little bit, across and back down. And I was really hoping to show some good pictures of that, and I just didn't get them because I just had no space and no ability to upload, and we just really had to hoof it on our return trip. In part because we were getting the last river crossing pretty late, like 8 p.m. late. And, well, you're supposed to do water crossings earlier in the day, especially if they're really heavy water crossings, like if you're doing the Sierra Nevada or Yosemite or something like that. You're really going to want to get out there and do the worst of them at 4 or 5 a.m. if you can, because as things heat up and you get more direct glaciers up there, the amount of water and the flow really increases by a lot. And so it was supposed to be about 90 degrees at 6,000 feet while we were out there, which we were going a little bit below, a little bit above 6,000 feet. And well, it definitely wasn't going to be 90 up on the glaciers. It was still a lot warmer than you'd want to be for a water crossing in the evening. I don't think it got quite that hot, but point being is it definitely was pretty toasty, and we had a lot of melt. And so the the water crossing that we did, especially the last one, so the first one when you come down, really was pretty substantial, and there wasn't really any good places to walk through it. The logs were still there, but now they were underwater and they were so slippery there was no way we were walking on that. So we basically had to sit on the log, put our feet on other logs or rocks under the water, wherever we could, to get our feet on something so we could have multiple points of contact. Basically, my hands were under me, scooting me along, and with large branches that were, a couple inches thick at points and getting pretty tall that I couldn't just scoot along. I had to lift myself up, push my torso over the water instead of over the log, and go around it, especially with my bag. It was pretty complicated. And we got across fine, but I have to admit, it was our first set of water crossings on this backpacking trip, and so it was the first time I've been legitimately a little bit scared out there, especially with my wife out there with me. It's just kind of you're not really thinking of yourself so much as really being scared for your partner. It was the same the other way around. So we got across okay. And it really, for anyone who has experience with water crossings, they would have looked at that and said, oh, that's easy, that's nothing. But it's a new experience for us. So for those who aren't too familiar with water crossings, just try to get to them earlier in the day and just know there's going to be a few out there. There are probably 3 real water crossings on this trail, and I mean, some were really pretty easy. You could walk across rocks, and as long as you didn't do something stupid or really maladroit, you'd be fine. And there's a number of water sources otherwise, so about every mile we had a great place where we could fill up our water if we wanted to, so we were able to keep pretty light during it. But so water aside, one other thing I wanted to mention is the drive out to get to the Cloud Cap Inn is really pretty straightforward. You're on a major highway, and then you jump on, I think it is actually I have my laptop right here, but find my phone. Let's see. So you jump really, let's see, you hit Hood River, down Highway 35, towards Cooper Spur Ski Resort, and you jump on Cloud Cap Road, and you pretty much take that the whole way. And there's actually decent signs. There's a spot or two where there's a alternate road off to the side. A couple of them I didn't even notice, and my wife had to point out. So it's really pretty easy to get there. But there are about 18 water bars along the way, which means it's kind of like a speed bump and then a reverse speed bump, which isn't going to be a problem for most cars. I have a luxury sedan. Usually I'm the only one up on these mountains with a car like that. And there's only one time where I really just barely scraped my splitter along one of them. So anyone with any clearance is not going to have a problem. But just be aware of those, that once you're on the Cloud Cap Road, especially as you get in the last few miles of the trail up to the inn itself, just be ready for those and don't be doing it quick, or you're going to have an interesting time. And there may have been some other things I wanted to mention about this trail, but I think that was really about it. It was really a satisfying first backpacking trip for us. Definitely had a little bit more technical aspects to it, like the water crossings, which we just hadn't had the chance to do before. So we loved it, and it wasn't by far the prettiest area on Mount Hood either, so we're looking forward to getting some other sections. But as always, if you have any questions, please message me or put them down below. If you have any comments, suggestions, same thing. If you liked this video, found it interesting, worthwhile, please hit like. Feel free to subscribe, take a look at my other videos, and I'll get more coming as we go. Thanks for watching.